The pandemic has shown its worst phase with the second wave hitting India and the world in an unprecedented manner. From losing lives of loved ones to waiting for treatment at hospitals to crushing needs for oxygen and life saving drugs, the country has seen it all. But in times to come, with so many people not ready to just sit and watch the situation worsen, several solutions can be expected to arrive. With startups tying up with a lot of other startups as well as major corporates and hospitals to come at the forefront to help people across the country has come as an exceptional relief to people. There are a number of startups who have come up and are working round the clock to satisfy the requirements of COVID patients. From startups developing a supply of skilled manpower for home quarantine patients to providing fresh food for hospital and home patients to supplying important logistics for medical emergencies, startups have found their niche areas and started working on this at over footing. In the process of becoming big, these startups are considered not just growing on its own, but also thinking of the society and helping them. This is a very important change that we're seeing in the human approach of the startups during this pandemic. Probably in times to come, we will see these startups not just looking at becoming large corporates, but also responsible corporates as they go forward, also helping India fight the pandemic. Hundreds of startups and entrepreneurs and venture capitalists, if not more, are spending much of their time trying to build softwares to find ways to make it easy for people to track new updates and make donations to foundations and exploring and funding ideas that have the potential to address some of the challenges around the crisis. It all began last year where a Pune based startup, My Lab Discovery, became the first Indian firm to get a full approval to make and sell testing kits for COVID-19. Over the period, we've seen a lot of other startups come forward and help people as well. For example, FICCI network, which is India's largest diagnostic network, which brings in clinician, technician, radiologists, and others under one roof through their platform, has done more than 5,000 scans, which is helping people to identify the gravity of COVID-19 infection within them. Venture capitalists like Prabhakar Khanduja, payment founder and CEO Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Delivery, Zomato, Razorpay, Ease My Trip, Pharmacy are those who have stepped up to help the country with the overburden in the healthcare system and to manage the pandemic situation. Amazon, along with the ACT Grant, Temasek Foundation, Pune Platform for COVID-19 Response, which is PPCR, and other parents are lifting over 8,000 oxygen concentrators and 500 BiPAP machines from Singapore. This is a phenomenal task that has brought together the ecosystem in Pune to help people fight the crisis. The organization are also working closely with the government to expedite the entry of these oxygen concentrators and BiPAP machines into the country. These medical equipments will be donated to hospitals, public institutions to augment their capacity to fight COVID-19 infected patients across multiple cities as well. The KVN Foundation, led by serial entrepreneur K. Ganesh, set up the Feed My City initiative in 2020 last year that served 58 lakh meals to stranded migrant workers. Now the foundation has launched the Mission Million Air that is working to supply free oxygen concentrators to the needy until they find a hospital bed, get access to doctors, or recover completely. Homegrown mapping platform Make My Trip is working to make it easier to track vehicles carrying oxygen, vaccines, and other medical infrastructure transport. The company said it would also install free GPS tracking systems on such vehicles in the country in the times to come. Several startups are also rallying the Action COVID-19 team grants which is the egg grant, which has announced a plan to raise 750 million rupees for the facility of home health management, oxygen solution, vaccinations, as well as supplement medical workforce. It has already been successful in raising 500 million Indian rupees in less than 24 hours when it started off. Several startup entrepreneurs, innovators, and startup collectively have joined India's fight against a ravaging second wave of COVID-19, donating funds and providing logistics to help hospitals procure oxygen essential items and aggregating information that people are in need of in cases has helped people a lot. Procuring oxygen concentrators has been considered to be a priority as there is a massive scarcity of oxygen in several hospitals across the country. As I had mentioned earlier, Paytm's Vijay Shekhar Sharma mentioned in one of his interview that it had internally raised almost 20 million Indian rupees to source 10,000 oxygen concentrators. His company has also opened the fundraiser for the public at large and is attempting to balance out the donations of those who contribute to each uh, and reach the needy as well. There are several startups who are helping with healthy and nutrition food for COVID patients and their families so that they did not need to step out and also endanger others' lives. Several startups are collaborating to create a database of suppliers for medical equipments and medicines so that nobody suffers from the lack of communication regarding the availability of medicines. In order to strengthen the immunization process, several healthcare agencies are uh, working together to create facilities available to people to get vaccination at a speedy rate. This is where probably India has seen the first and the largest collaborative effort by startups and the startup ecosystem across cities come together to help each other and also share best practices. Probably this is a lesson which is learned for a long term growth of the ecosystem as well. This collaboration that we've seen during the current times might probably also be helpful to be replicated in the future when times are good for a better collaboration and growth of the Indian startup ecosystem as well.